Hello everyone, this is Serious Trivia, and Black Myth Wukong just dropped not one, but two teaser videos showcasing a 6-minute cinematic cutscene and an 8-minute gameplay showcase in partnership with NVIDIA. And as always, I'm here to break down both videos and provide a bit of my reaction to them. We'll start with the cinematic cutscene before finishing up with the gameplay showcase. Now, I'll be talking over both videos and pausing from time to time, so if you want to check out both teasers without interruptions, feel free to use the official link posted below to check them out for yourself. And without wasting another minute, let's get started. So we have the name of the courtyard here, which is Xulun Tang. No real significance. There are a couple historical locations with this name, usually part of a clan's record-keeping location. Nothing too significant overall. A couple Buddha statues, but no heads. Notice her hand, she's casting a spell. So since all the dialogue has English subtitles, I won't be translating those, but we just saw some really ugly lantern monsters, even though she's not referring to them when she calls the imbecile, she's referring to us, the prisoner.
快来快来，他们到了！又不是三姐姐你成亲，这么着急做什么？叫你编排我，今天我就收拾收拾你的小蹄子！哎呀，好姐姐，就饶了我吧！来了来了，新郎官来了！
我来迟了，妹妹们久等。
我到母亲日思夜想的，是个什么俊俏郎君，怎么生得这般憨丑？
嘴脸是有些阿杂。 不过母亲喜欢就好，丑是丑，听说以前倒还有些本事。为了抓他，母亲的家传宝贝都用上了，可是费了老了劲儿啊。
哼，二姐姐真是勤谨啊！捉到好东西，也不先让妹妹们尝尝。
妹妹好大的气性，母亲心心念念要嫁的人，少根指头，咱们都没好果子吃。
嫁了他又有什么用？我们还不是一辈子守在这鬼地方，连你也不晓得。想看就去前头看。
我说妹妹。
So we have our 5 characters. One's coming out from the inner courtyard we caught a glimpse in the previous scene, but these are sisters, and by the way they're referring to each other. The lady in the back with the fan is the third sister. The one here in front of the scene is the youngest. She's the 5th sister. And the person who brought the prisoner back is the second sister. She's casting a spell to hold the prisoner, who is supposedly going to become the groom to their mother, who's been waiting for him. And from the spider, we can guess these are the spider monsters from Pan Si Dong. Or rather, these are the daughters of the original spider monsters that were supposedly killed by Wukong, as the storyline for Black Myth Wukong happens after the journey to the west. So these are not the original spider monsters from Pan Si Dong, but rather the descendants.
妹们，这还没开始行礼，你们就急着要闹喜糖了。
And this is our oldest sister.
嗨，
The one
不
with
过
the
是母亲
spider
修炼用的
is the
经验。
4th.
我们呐，别操那没用的心。 姐姐，人我就交给你。
一路辛苦了。
姐姐，母亲是老糊涂了，妹妹们又不小的事，难道你也看不出来吗？
你就当心疼心疼母亲，也是我们做儿女的尽一次本分。
我何尝不
The makeup is very Tang Dynasty. The dots you see around the lips, that is pretty classic for the Tang Dynasty makeup.
心疼她？她数十年的病根一直好不了，正是拜这蠢物所赐。不恨就罢了，还这般作践自己，我是演不下去。
有些事情不看对错美丑，更不论强弱输赢，都是机缘巧现编织的宿命。
姐姐，
你我当时都未出生。
Exactly. They were not born then. So these are descendants from the original spider monsters.
不曾见母亲用过的情，自然也参不透她今日的痴心。
师伯那边，
So Shibo here would refer to Bai Mu Mojun, the monster with the 100 eyes. I think a scorpion creature from the original story who lived near the spiders and didn't really care for them in the original novel. Basically, Wukong tried to threaten him to release his party when he captured them. I think he poisoned the tea when they visited him. He was in disguise because his 100 eyes could blind even Wukong from recognizing his form. And Wukong basically went and tied up the original 7 spider monsters, and they called him Shixiong, which is sort of senpai. And he refused to release the party. And Wukong ended up killing all 7 in the original novel. But here, clearly one of them survived and has a love story added in here with Wukong himself, or perhaps our character. It's still quite confusing who we actually play as in the game. It must be Wukong in some form, but we don't know the exact story yet.
走一步看一步吧，借来的福分，能多享一日，也是好的。你随我来，前面便是母亲的蓝房了。这里有几句话要叮嘱你。母亲平日里都是好的，唯有吃饭时只爱独享，千万别去沾惹她。还有，别细看她的脸，尤其是眼睛。
姐姐，不能再耽搁了。
我的话，你可要细细记住了。
快去，别误了时辰。
So you can kind of hear chains when the main character here walks. We're definitely bounded by some sort of spell, maybe even physical restraints, and we're shorter than everyone else. So maybe we're tied up.
为何相见恨晚，情深却不寿？管他虚情假意，花落谁自
哥哥，你让妾身等得好苦啊！
待今早西风雪无忧。
天上果然不是人过的日子，能回来就好。
So she's clearly one of the original 7 spider monsters from the original Journey to the West, and she somehow survived. And she has feelings for our main characters, who I think she's assuming is Wukong from the original Journey. And she wants to, quote unquote, marry us, even though spiders are known to feast on the husband after mating. So we'll see what happens here. And she's dressed in red, which is the traditional color for Chinese weddings. The shoe style is very close to Han through Tang Dynasty shoes. You have the front block, which holds the dress or the robe back for male and females. And once again, the makeup.
姑娘们，排宴。
徒
And these webs confirms that they're spider monsters. And we have the character Wukong written in webs. So, we have the old lady in her spider form, the face with the red look, disturbed when eating, perhaps after mating, and we have ourselves perhaps a boss fight in the future. And that's our cinematic trailer. It's a cutscene, so perhaps that cuts into the fight, and there might be stuff that's left off. We don't see our main character at all here, so there could be potential for a lot of things. Now, it's pretty nice to actually get some story shown here in this teaser, as all the previous teasers from the prior 2 years have been sort of gameplay focused with some elements shown here and there, but nothing so coherent as this. And we can see that we're definitely in the period after the original journey to the west, as Wukong returns from heaven, as the old lady says, and he's on a journey again to perhaps retrace his step and find something. And we have different monsters from the previous journey who somehow survive, perhaps revealing some stories that were not in the novel, such as this love element between the spider monster and Wukong himself. And pretty excited to see more. So aside from this, we do have an 8-minute gameplay showcase where we can do a bit more analysis on the combat styles, as they have a much more robust UI that's shown. So let's get started with that right away. And we're back as the Golden Cicada in the same area showcase in the previous teaser about 2 years ago. But instead of running away in the cicada form, we're gonna transform back and fight this monster here. So we see the UI changes here from the previous years. We have our health, the gourd that heals us on the left, that's still the same. The yellow bar on the bottom is stamina. On the right, we have 4 abilities, clearly showcase 1, 2, 3, 4 for the controls. And then we have the stance bar with those 3 dots, which charges up from either continuous attack or a perfect dodge. And we can use those dots for more powerful attack moves. We just activated our 4th ability, which is the clones. And you can see the cooldown on the 4th ability. We just used the dot for a charged up staff attack. And we're slightly injured and we're running away here. There is also an items wheel above the health, as we can see either the 5 key as a shortcut or the Q key. And then we see we're collecting herbs, which can be used to craft potions and health. And also a shrine. As a checkpoint or a save point in a certain stage, we turn one of our hairs into an incense to pray to the local shrine. Flowers blossom, and we get ourselves a save point. So we can save here. Let's actually pause here real quick. So the first one's Telsi, which means to rest. And it says that we will heal up our entire status and also refill our gourd, which I think is sort of our health potion regen. And as we drink to heal, the gourd goes down. As you can see right now, it's missing a little bit on the top. But the cost of resting here is we're resetting all the monsters in this zone. So basically there's going to be low level monsters for you to fight in all these zones. There's going to be a boss fight perhaps at the end of the zone. This area is called Canglang Lin, or the forest of the wolf. I think we were here previously fighting the wolf creature in the previous teaser showcase 2 years ago. And then aside from the first choice, which is rest, there is 缩地, which is the second choice, and that means to shrink the ground, and that's the fast travel. Basically, in Chinese mythology, with 土地公, for example, or the local deity of the earth, you can basically sink into the earth, shrink the ground, and pop out somewhere else. So it's fast travel. And then the third option, 修行, is to cultivate, so perhaps to level up. And then the final option here is to leave, which I think just closes the menu, not leave the game. I think there should be, a more general menu to leave the game for that purpose. Anyhow, we're resting here, resetting the whole stage, and we have our save point basically set here. And you see a bit more exploration, showcasing the terrain, more herbs to pick up. We have a bit of Buddhist scripture reading in the background, a different type of herb. This is ginseng. And here's a really cool one. It looks like ginseng, but it's a ginseng monster. So it's sort of those trap chests in a lot of classic games. We healed from the gourd. He has a binding move with roots. We're poison. That's a status icon on the right side. And he's spreading his roots. We're using those bars on the right to charge up. Now there's an experience of 200, and he's a 1,000-year-old ginseng. The time that he nurtured made him into a monster. And here we have inventory for the first time. So you can see staff actually is an item we can equip and perhaps change. The gourd as well as our clothing, gauntlets, bracers, perhaps other inventory items in the future. And if we look on the menu on the top, we have 神通, which I guess would be abilities or ultimates and maybe transformations actually. And then 行囊 is what's in our bag, which I assume are not what we're wearing, but rather the herbs we're collecting. You can see the shortcut menu for the different herbs that we have that we've been collecting. And then there's also going to be 游记, which is going to be a codex system. And the last one is settings. And there's also stats on the right side as well. So we can put different herbs, as you can see here, into our gourd. And these are goji berries. Codex. So this is really cool because this is a lot of work. And we basically have a bandit here. That's the codex. And then a lot of flavor text, which is actually really, really cool. And we just met the ginseng monster as he's added into our codex circled, which is sort of the Chinese version of the check mark. You basically use red ink with the calligraphy brush and to draw a little circle to check it off. So there was a prompt behind the waterfall for us to basically blow it up almost. And we see this crack. Very Assassin's Creed. Now just to be clear, the developer have said the inspiration for the game is God of War. But that crease is definitely very Assassin's Creed. And here we have a boss fight. So it says 首领, which is leader, 赤须, so the red beard. It's a dragon. So whenever we do the clone for the dodge, you see we get a little charge bar on the bottom. Oh, we just used our third ability. Which I think it's like a defensive form where we basically don't get damage for that period. We're healing up a lot because we're getting damaged a lot. The electricity effect for the health bar as well as our character, we've seen that with the previous dragon fight against Bailomat, most likely. This is a different dragon. And before you ask why this dragon looks very different from that dragon, this one's actually closer to what dragons would look like during the Tang Dynasty. Basically, before the Song Dynasty, dragons in Chinese mythology were more beast-like. They basically had legs. They look like closer to tigers in terms of the body form. Definitely still sort of serpent-like all the way through. But it's not until after the Song Dynasty where they became pretty much serpent-like and they flowed and the legs sort of became talons. And this is definitely a closer form to how it would be artistically represented during the Tang Dynasty. And it has a massive health bar. We barely hurt it. We have a fully charged 3-dot, so I wonder if we can do some more powered up attack. Second ability use, it says Ding, which is freeze on his head, so it's a ability to freeze the enemy. And we're probably gonna let off charge attacks. So we knocked it down, and it seems like his weakness are these bolts on the back. As we popped one, his health took a chunk. So that's how to kill him. This boss is just to stun him, and then hit the... I don't even know what they are on the top. Incense containers? Our first ability, transformation into a rock creature. The character on that first ability was Shi, which means rock. And as you can see on the left, we still have the health bar. The blue bar is gone. And now we have the stamina bar, which would tick down during the transformation. And when it goes to 0, I guess we would automatically transform back. This was also there during the cicada flight at the beginning if you want to go back and check. In this form, it seems like we have just 2 abilities. One is to switch back, and 2 looks like a shard attack, not sure. I don't think he uses it in this fight, so we basically won't know. And the logic here is rock beats electricity. So we'll probably take less damage and be able to hurt him a bit more here. I mean, considering the fact that Wukong came from a rock, he was a rock monkey, it kind of makes sense we can turn ourselves into this spiky mineral thing as we're just tackling it. Our stamina bar is going low, but he is knocked down, so look at this attack. It's actually super cool. We drop ourselves, and we pop 2 of them as they scatter on the ground, and just as our stamina was running out, so perfectly timed. Now there's appears to be just 1 left on his back. Oh, more than 1. There's 3 actually. But he's very low health. It seems like only that one's glowing, so I'm assuming if we pop that, we win. And he's changing his attack movesets, as with most boss fights in these games. We have done a couple perfect dodges, environmentally destruction. We have fully powered up staff, but he crushes us. And we get our death. Which is actually a lot of people, wanted to see what it looks like when you die. But of course, there's a bit more. What happens when we beat him? We get ourselves a chest. So these are probably rewards after beating bosses. Sounds empty. And my best guess for this is a different staff that we can equip with lightning attributes. And that's it. Now we have to wait for a whole new year for a trailer. It always drops on August 20th. Now the rumored release date for the game is apparently May 30th, 2023. So there's probably not going to be a teaser next year as we head closer to the actual launch of the game, as this is sort of the second year after the first teaser was released 2 years ago into development. And as far as I know, the team has expanded to over 100 developers from the days of sending out the trailer to try to recruit people to join the project. They also have contractors working on it through the partnership with NVIDIA, for example, here. And the game is definitely headed towards completion. We are seeing some more proof of concept using these pre-alpha builds. We are seeing more of how the combat will actually work, the abilities. So it's exciting. I think the game's going to come out next year. Can't wait to play it here on the channel. And I hope you guys enjoyed these teasers. And as always, if you have any questions, feel free to write them down in the comment section below. And I'll do my best to try to answer them as much as I can. So until next time, bye.